The first hot dog hit the grass before I even understood what had happened. 1 second I was standing awkwardly beside the picnic tables, wondering why my biggest rival at work had insisted I spend Independence Day with her family, and the next second she wrapped her hand around my arm, smiled brighter than the fireworks waiting for sunset, and proudly announced to nearly 40 stunned relatives that I was her boyfriend. Every conversation stopped. Every pair of eyes locked onto me. My heart pounded so hard I could barely hear the laughter that slowly spread through the backyard. In that unforgettable moment, I realized I had just been pulled into the biggest lie of my life by the one woman who had made every weekday feel like a competition. Before we continue, if you believe kindness can grow from the most unexpected places, and if you enjoy emotional stories about second chances, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps these stories reach more hearts around the world. Until that afternoon, Emily Carter had been the last person I expected to spend a holiday with. We worked together at a growing architecture firm in Chicago, where deadlines were brutal and promotions were even harder to earn. She was brilliant, determined, and painfully competitive. We challenged each other's ideas in meetings, corrected each other's mistakes without mercy, and somehow always finished at the top of every quarterly review. Everyone in the office assumed we secretly hated each other. To be honest, I believed it too. We respected each other's talent, but respect was buried beneath years of sarcasm, endless debates, and the constant race to prove who deserved recognition more. The invitation had arrived unexpectedly on Friday afternoon. Emily had walked to my desk carrying 2 coffees, something she had never done before. Her expression lacked its usual confidence, replaced by nervousness I had never seen in her eyes. She explained that her grandmother had become convinced Emily was hiding a serious relationship because she never brought anyone home for holidays. The entire family expected her to arrive with someone that year. She admitted she had panicked and told everyone she was dating a man from work. Before she realized how ridiculous it sounded, she had accidentally described me perfectly. Height, profession, personality, everything matched. Her relatives already knew my name before she even considered asking me. I laughed, convinced it was another elaborate joke. But Emily never smiled. She looked exhausted in a way that had nothing to do with work. She confessed her parents had been quietly worrying ever since her younger sister got married and started a family. Every holiday became another reminder that Emily spent most of her life buried in blueprints and construction meetings. She wasn't ashamed of her career, but she hated disappointing the people she loved. She begged me for one afternoon. Just one barbecue. She promised I would never owe her another favor after this. Against every logical instinct, I agreed. Part of me felt sorry for her. Another part wondered what the fiercely confident woman behind the office rivalry looked like when deadlines and presentations disappeared. I convinced myself it would be an amusing story someday. The Carter family home sat beside a peaceful lake surrounded by old maple trees decorated with red, white, and blue ribbons. Children chased each other carrying tiny American flags while grandparents rested beneath shaded tents. The smell of grilled burgers drifted through warm summer air. Country music played softly from outdoor speakers, mixing with laughter that seemed to echo across the water. Everything looked perfect. Then Emily introduced me as her boyfriend. For several terrifying minutes, I struggled to remember every fake detail she had rushed through during the drive. We had supposedly been dating for 6 months. We met through work. I loved baseball, disliked mushrooms, and supposedly adored her homemade lasagna despite never tasting it. Every answer required careful thought because one mistake could expose everything. To my surprise, her family welcomed me with genuine warmth. The sarcastic executive disappeared. Instead, I saw a daughter helping her father repair an old fence before anyone asked. I watched her comfort a crying nephew after he scraped his knee. She carried lemonade to elderly neighbors who had stopped by simply because they had known the family for decades. The woman constantly described as intimidating at work seemed completely different surrounded by people she loved. For the first time, I wondered whether either of us had truly known the other. As sunset approached, the atmosphere changed. Emily's older cousin arrived unexpectedly. Within minutes I realized he recognized me from social media. He had seen photographs from company award ceremonies where Emily and I stood on opposite sides of conference rooms looking anything but romantic. Suspicion quickly spread across his face. He began asking increasingly detailed questions about our relationship. Dates. Vacations. Favorite restaurants. Anniversaries. Every answer felt like walking across thin ice. Emily squeezed my hand beneath the picnic table, silently thanking me each time I covered another inconsistency. Eventually the questioning stopped, but something else happened that none of us expected. Her grandmother quietly called me onto the porch while everyone prepared fireworks near the lake. She spoke gently about Emily's childhood. She explained how Emily lost her best friend in high school to a drunk driving accident during another 4th of July weekend. Since then, holidays had become complicated. Emily buried herself in work because staying busy hurt less than facing loneliness. She rarely allowed anyone close enough to disappoint her again. The grandmother admitted she didn't actually care whether I was Emily's boyfriend. She only wanted someone who looked at Emily the way she deserved to be seen. Those words settled deep inside me. I realized our office rivalry had hidden something much larger. Emily wasn't cold because she enjoyed pushing people away. She protected herself before anyone else had the chance to leave. As darkness covered the lake, fireworks finally exploded across the sky. Families gathered on blankets. Children pointed excitedly at colorful lights reflecting across the water. Emily and I stood quietly away from everyone else. Without pretending for a moment, she admitted she hadn't felt this peaceful in years. She apologized for dragging me into her complicated family situation. She expected me to refuse immediately, yet somehow I had shown up anyway. I admitted something equally surprising. Coming there had reminded me how lonely I had become. 3 years earlier my own parents had divorced after decades together. Holidays slowly disappeared as everyone celebrated separately. Work had become my distraction just as it had become hers. Competing against Emily gave me purpose because it was easier than admitting I had nothing waiting when I returned home every evening. For the first time since meeting each other, neither of us needed to win. The following Monday, life returned to normal. Or at least it tried to. We still attended meetings. We still debated designs. But something invisible had shifted. Arguments became conversations instead of battles. Coffee occasionally appeared on my desk. I found myself asking about her family. She asked whether I had visited my father recently. The office noticed immediately. Rumors spread faster than construction schedules. People assumed we were secretly dating because rivals simply didn't smile at each other that often. Ironically, the fake relationship became easier to believe than the truth. Several months passed before another challenge arrived. The company announced one executive promotion. Emily and I became the final 2 candidates. Old competitive instincts returned almost overnight. Late nights filled with revisions. Independent presentations. Separate client meetings. Neither of us wanted pity. Neither wanted favoritism. The friendship we had built suddenly felt fragile. Then disaster struck during the final presentation. A technical failure erased half of Emily's design files minutes before executives entered the conference room. She stood frozen. Months of preparation disappeared. Nobody else noticed except me. Every instinct told me to stay silent. Winning had never been closer. Instead, I handed her my backup drive. Weeks earlier, after watching her work countless overtime hours, I had quietly saved duplicate copies of several shared project resources, just in case. The backup wasn't perfect. But it contained enough information for her presentation to continue. She looked at me with tears she desperately tried to hide. That afternoon we both delivered outstanding presentations. Neither mentioned what had happened. The promotion results arrived the following week. The executive board surprised everyone. Instead of choosing one leader, they created a new collaborative division managed jointly by Emily and me, explaining that our combined strengths consistently produced the firm's best results. People applauded. Emily laughed. I simply realized life sometimes rewarded cooperation more than competition. The next 4th of July arrived faster than either of us expected. This time no invitation was necessary. Emily simply asked whether I planned on coming. Her family had already assumed I would. When we arrived beside the same lake, her grandmother hugged me before greeting anyone else. Nothing needed pretending anymore. No fake stories. No rehearsed memories. Just honest friendship growing into something deeper with every shared laugh and every quiet conversation beneath summer stars. Late that evening, after fireworks painted the sky once again, Emily admitted something she had hidden since the first barbecue. She had never actually planned to introduce me as her boyfriend. Her little niece had run into the backyard shouting that Emily's boyfriend had arrived before Emily even reached the gate. Faced with 40 waiting relatives, panic took over, and she simply nodded. The biggest lie of her life had been born from one terrified second. We both laughed until tears rolled down our faces. Sometimes the moments we spend years planning change nothing. Sometimes the moments we never plan change everything. If this story has touched your heart so far, please like the video, share it with someone who believes people deserve second chances, subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Your support truly means the world. Special request, before the story ends, please comment below, kindness can change rivals into family. We'd love to know where you're watching from as well. That night, standing beside the lake while distant fireworks faded into silence, I realized the greatest victory of my career had never been winning awards or promotions. It had been allowing someone I misunderstood to become someone I trusted. Emily had dragged me into a lie because she was afraid of disappointing the people she loved. I walked away with something far more valuable than a convincing performance. I gained a family that welcomed me before they truly knew me, a friendship built on honesty after an impossible beginning, and the courage to stop treating every relationship like a contest that needed a winner and a loser. Life has a remarkable way of turning unexpected invitations into unforgettable blessings. Sometimes the person standing on the opposite side of your hardest battles isn't your enemy at all. Sometimes they're simply waiting for one moment of compassion to change both your lives forever. And every 4th of July after that, whenever fireworks illuminated the night sky above the lake, we remembered the unbelievable afternoon when one impossible introduction transformed two rivals into the beginning of a story neither of us could have written alone.